Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Retro Gamers Podcast, episode number 385. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
And what's going on, good sir?
It's another week. I'm still recovering from last weekend. I used every bit of extroverted energy that I had for the month in one
Yeah,
weekend.
you
Incredible.
you tapped out there at you got to the end. You got to the
I
end
got
of
to
the
the end,
expo.
but I tapped out on people about 2 hours into the first day.
And don't take it personally, folks. It's
No,
just him.
no, I will take the full blame for that. I am not good talking to people. I just am not. I just want to stay in my little shell.
I found so we're gonna talk a little bit. We're gonna do a little bit just kind of wrap up of the expo, especially because we had someone we recorded last week. We did it Sunday morning from the
Mhm.
expo. So
Yep.
we did do some things afterwards, so we'll talk about real quick. But also that day on day three, I remember when we like that interviewer, like we did like a very quick, someone came over and filmed us.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
film view. I was
Yeah,
just sitting there.
you were there. You chimed in. So apparent I finally figured out what that was. That was and I did post it on our Facebook page, or at least the link. Long Island Retro Gaming Expo was doing a live stream all weekend.
Oh.
So at parts, they would just have the camera like on the second or third floor, just pointing down, and that would be like
Hmm.
2 hours. But that woman who interviewed us, I think, is a Twitch streamer. I don't know, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. I don't know, but
Okay.
she was part of the actual Long Island Retro Gaming Expo, which I love this T-shirt, and very happy. 2X, boom.
Very nice.
So she was actually part. So we were actually live streaming when she
Oh,
came over.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's like 3 hours and 38 minutes. Yeah, and it's only like 30 seconds of us. And if I knew that she was live streaming, I might not have tried to pawn off the business card because it
Oh.
just looks so awkward
Mm.
at the end
Hmm.
when I'm like, oh, by the way, take this. Because I was going to talk to her, be like, hey, look, here we are. If you could tag us in the video, and she would have been like, okay, I gotta go. Okay.
Yeah.
It all would have been live on the internet. So
Well, Larry, look, you are a salesman till the end. Um,
I
I
thank God I
will,
only lost my voice for a day.
yes, I will happily never buy a used car from you.
I'm not good at selling stuff like that. I know people who can sell ice to an Eskimo.
Yep.
I cannot do. I've never done sales. That's the one thing I cannot do. I can calm people down. I can have good conversations with them, but they don't buy crap from me.
Yeah. Once upon a time, I did a sales job and I learned very quickly I did not want to do it.
Yeah, I'm not for sales. Though, if I sell stuff for $1, people will flock.
Yes, your bin of crap did very well for
Which
you.
I still have in the back of the car. I got to get out. Yeah, no, that dollar stuff, and
Yeah.
again,
With a lot less
not
crap in it
everything.
now.
Yeah, not everything was probably worth just $1. So a lot of people made out like bandits, but I'm happy for them. Good for them.
Yep. Good for
Uh,
them.
I'm trying to. We really didn't see much more afterwards. We just had a chance to really walk around the
Yep.
floor, the expo floor, and had just such a great time. We want to thank the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo.
Yes.
Um, for letting us buy a table and being at the show. And truth be told, and again, this is not a knock on anyone, so please don't take it that way. When we found out we were in the back room of the Retro Expo,
Hmm.
we were a little nervous. Like, the back room. All right, let's see what's happening here. But then when we saw where our table is, we felt a little bit better.
You
Eh,
did.
Well, yeah, true. Hey, look, me is us
Okay.
for the podcast.
No, it's not.
And but what even made it what sold it for me was when everyone else was like, "Oh my God, your table is prime real estate." It's like, "Oh, okay, this is going to work out," and it did. So
Hmm. I, on the other hand, was worried. I was very skeptical about it because we were so close to the food, and
agreed.
I did not want to smell the deep fryer all day. But yeah, well, that's all you. That's not me.
Smell
But
of alley fries.
the good news is with that though is that we didn't really, they really didn't smell it, so I was perfectly fine.
No, I did smell the burgers, which just remind me burgers and alley fries. I call them alley fries because you can tell when French fries come from a bowling alley because
Yes.
bowling alley French fries for some reason just have a distinct smell to it.
Well, because
And
they haven't changed the oil since the
oh,
bowling alley opened.
chef's kiss.
Yes, and my other concern with our table is that we were right by the bathroom, so that was another odor concern that I had, but that did not happen, thankfully.
If someone is that bad off where that was going to permeate through those doors, through the wall, and then out by us, that
Yep.
human being should see a doctor.
Well, we were at a video game expo, so anything's possible.
Oh, very true. Not as bad as wrestling fans, though.
No, no, no.
And I'll be there tomorrow.
Oh, good
Um,
luck to you.
so yeah, so Sunday was still busy, but we did get a chance to walk around. So I picked up. You may not be. I don't know what you might have, Ant, but I ended up picking up a couple more things before we left, and I'm just going to show them off real quick. First of all, I want to give a big shout out to Spawn Point Coffee,
Yeah,
spawnpointcoffee.com. I picked up a bar soap,
very nice.
a coffee infused, coffee grained soap.
Nice. So you're gonna walk around smelling like coffee.
I'm
Good for
trying to think what
you.
flavor this was, but I can't. I don't remember.
Sadness.
No, actually, somewhat joy. I mean, I'm not even a coffee drinker. I spent 30 hours of my life being a coffee drinker. It didn't work out well. So,
Well, I have learned that there is only one kind of coffee I can drink, and it is a mocha because it has chocolate in it.
and actually, you did post a picture of you ended up getting as well a bag of Spawn Point coffee, chocolate coffee.
Chocolate flavored. Yeah.
Yep.
So thank you, Spawn Point Coffee. That will
Yes.
be awesome.
Very cool. And then, which I one of the gems of last week's episode I love is when Ant, you were showing off the replacement cases
Yes, that
for
was
the
great.
Sega CD. The genuineness of the two of us at the same time opening the box, opening the case, and seeing that there were backup copies of the games in those
Yep.
cases
That
absolutely
was fantastic.
one of my favorite parts of the episode. So then I immediately went out and bought a couple of replacement cases of games that I never owned. So I ended up picking
Fabulous.
up,
Yes.
I picked up the Software Toolworks Star Wars Chess.
Which is actually a great game.
Yes.
I know chess sounds boring, yeah, but the whole idea is like when you take a piece, there's an animated sequence that happens.
There's nearly 5,000 frames of hand-drawn cell
Yep.
animation and up to 72 animated capture sequences.
Yeah, which is great because you can see on the back of the box that Boba Fett is actually burning
Sure,
Chewbacca
sure is.
into a pile of ash.
Absolutely is.
Yep.
And then I picked up, which I find hysterical because for a table selling replacement cases,
Hmm.
this is a game that basically no one owns because it really didn't come
It
out.
was
I don't
never
think
released.
it was
No.
never released. But I do love these guys. Penn and Teller's Smoke and Mirrors,
Yes. I
which
thought that
has
was
the,
good.
yeah, I was gonna say it has the infamous Desert Bus. Is that Desert
Desert
Bus?
Bus.
Yep.
Yeah, if you didn't buy that, I was going to.
No, that wasn't
J
Desert Bus.
Yeah,
There it is.
just to have it in my
There's Desert
collection.
Bus.
There it is.
So again, they have the what we will call backup CDs,
Yes.
backup games. And the Sega CD will play backup CDs.
Nice.
Mine, not so much.
Right. What
So
happened?
I tried booting it up. Now I looked into this. It might actually be more of a power situation. Power. Though I am pretty sure I have the original AC plug for the Sega Dreamcast that I have. It's a Model 2. But the
Sega CD,
Sega CD, what did I say?
Dreamcast.
That too. Sega CD. I'm pretty sure I have the original stuff with it,
Okay.
but the Star Wars chess just wouldn't boot up at all.
No,
All right.
interesting.
All
Okay.
right. I did put Penn and Teller Smoke and Mirrors, which is actually a two-disc game, which I never knew about. I put
Wow.
disc one in. It took a little bit, but it booted, but it was very jumpy. It kept like all the full motion video would freeze for a moment and then continue on.
Okay.
So having a little trouble playing those. Again, when I went on Reddit to do a search, because Reddit is just as good as Wikipedia. Again, a lot of it's saying about the power adapter. So I'm going to double check to see
Yep.
if I have enough power running to it.
Wait.
But nevertheless, I got like they were $5 each. I'm not too worried
Yeah.
about it.
Well, and
Pretty cool though.
it was really about getting the game cases. It wasn't about the actual discs that were
Yeah,
in the game cases. I'm curious
sure.
now. I'm curious now to take out my Sega CD to see if the ones that I bought will actually work. Because I know my Sega CD was Jack fixed it a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
So mine's like brand spanking new, should work fine.
Yeah, yours should be all jacked up. No pun
Yes.
intended. Oh, pun intended. I guess it does work.
No, yeah, it was pun intended. It was
Yeah, I
just
like that.
terrible.
No, boy. Boy, I can't wait to do a solo show.
No, no more. No, no. I told you about solo shows. I'm going to outlaw them.
So that's basically what I picked up. I really didn't pick up anything else at the expo.
Okay.
After that, did you pick up any? I mean, you might not have it readily available, but did you pick up anything else after we
Um,
recorded last week? I don't think you did. I remember
I did.
you did. Actually, now
I
that I think
did.
about it.
And if you pause, I'll grab it. So
All right,
hold
whole
on.
credit.
But I did pick up one other thing,
Hmm.
and I told you going into the weekend, I had one. There were two games I was looking for. I was looking for Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD for the Wii U and
Yeah.
Twilight Princess for the Wii U as well. I showed off Wind Waker because I found it on Saturday, so I showed it off on the show last week.
Hmm.
But then after we recorded, you found another vendor who had Twilight Princess HD for a decent price because there were some
Excellent.
that had them there, but they were prices that were a little higher than I
All
wanted to
the
pay.
prices were wicked.
Yeah, but not every.
Well, not
Not,
all, a lot.
I'll be honest with you. Some weren't that bad. So especially this copy of Twilight Princess, which I got for the Wii
There
U.
you go.
So
Nice.
HD Wii U, excellent condition. Again with this stupid instruction booklet thingy where it's like, oh, go download this, which I do not agree with. But I
You're
got my
saving
copy.
trees,
But you're printing stuff anyway. It's like, so
but
print the instruction booklet.
true.
It's like you're killing a tree by doing this. And I know that this is cheaper because every game has it in there, but just give me an instruction booklet,
Be lucky you
please.
got that. Nowadays with Switch, you get nothing,
I know it's very it's sad. It's very, very sad.
from what I
So
understand.
yes, so I got my HD remake. I'm very excited because also very for this game specifically, I have never played Twilight Princess. So
In
this is
any
new.
iteration.
No, I have not.
Okay.
And I now own three of them.
Wait a minute.
GameCube, Wii, and Wii U.
Oh, that's right. I forgot it came out on
It came
GameCube.
out on the
Yes.
GameCube first,
I
and
thought it was
it
the Wii U. That's
no,
right.
no, it came out at the end of the GameCube cycle, so they made it for the Wii,
Do I have Twilight Princess?
and then they did the HD remake for the Wii U. So
I remember the HD remake,
yeah,
but now I'm curious. I can just take a peek
so
at my
now
phone.
I basically completed my Twilight Princess collection until it comes out on the Switch.
Yeah. And now, how are you with then I know handhelds, you still got a few to go, but console wise, not counting the wonderful 3DO ones. No, CDI ones.
CDI, CDI.
Where are you at then with console copies?
Console copies actually I'm close to complete. Oddly enough, the one that I'm missing, which it still surprises me because I thought it was in my collection and it's not. I do not have Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link on the NES.
That's right. I keep forgetting about that.
Well,
Okay.
I keep forgetting that I don't have it, and then I remind myself when I go shopping, and I'm like, oh wait, I don't have this, and I'm like, okay.
And then
So that's the next one on my hit list because I think that will complete my Zelda console collection.
that's awesome. And
Yeah.
it's more a matter of like finding a decent looking copy.
Yeah,
Well, knowing
I don't
you
want
also
to,
want it
yeah,
in box.
yeah, I don't want a copy where the label's all messed up and stuff like that. No, thank you.
No, I do not have Twilight. The only version of Twilight Princess I have is on 3DS, and it's my Nintendo Picross, The Legend of
Oh, wow.
Zelda Twilight Princess. I think it was a free download at the time.
Oh,
So
nice.
I could have sworn I
Okay.
had Twilight Princess. I guess not. Then what the
That's
hell do I have
okay.
on the GameCube?
I could have sworn I had Adventures in like GameCube. You don't you have the N64 collections? You
I
know when they
have
came out with the
those.
yeah.
Here we go. Yeah, I got the collector's edition. I got Four Swords, the Ocarina of Time.
Hmm.
I could have sworn I had um Twilight Princess.
You
Apparently
don't have
not.
wait, you
Yeah.
don't have Wind Waker?
No, I have. You know what? I think I had Wind Waker for GameCube, but I
Hmm.
sold it back when I got Wind Waker HD for the Wii U.
I gotcha. Yeah, so GameCube, I have Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, the collector's edition, and
Mhm.
the two collector's editions. I
Yeah,
forget what the other one was called,
yeah,
and Four Swords. So I
very
think that's
cool.
all of the Zelda games on the
Have
Cube.
you ever played the second quest of Ocarina of Time on
I
that
have
collection?
not actually.
Really?
Yeah,
I smell a bit. Okay, something to
yeah.
think about.
I smell a lot of bits. There are a lot of Zelda games surprisingly I haven't played considering it's my favorite franchise. Obviously the
That
handheld
happens.
ones. Yeah, obviously the handheld ones. But then
Those are the ones I can't
yeah.
wait to have you play.
Yeah, but I did bring it up last week. Like Skyward Sword is one of the ones that I missed completely because I didn't have a Wii.
Hmm.
And I didn't pick it up for the Wii U at the time. Because the Wii U, like I think I don't want to say by the time I bought it, it was gone, but like it was such a short lifespan. It's like there was no time to even focus on getting stuff for it before it was gone.
Yeah, yeah, true.
So it
All
was
right.
crazy. So yeah,
Very cool. So we'll see what's
but
up with that.
but that's it for the expo.
All right. And then the final thing, as far as things I got in the mail, I did order, not necessarily, well, yeah, from a company and from a wonderful friend of the show, who will actually be on the show in a couple weeks. No, next
Mhm.
week. Thunderdome Gaming Society. Go check him
Oh
out on
yes.
social media. Fantastic.
Oh my God, he gets
Fantastic.
heavier every week.
He was, oh boy. And Leia's getting larger.
He no, he is. He's eating too many Wheaties. You eating all the
I don't
Wheaties?
think it's Wheaties. I think it's donuts.
He's eating all the donuts. Yeah, look at this. Look at
Look
all
at
the
that.
donuts in this face.
Oh, it's gonna be great when he gouges your eyes out.
No, look. He punishes me almost every day. I find vomit in places where there shouldn't be vomit.
And then what about the cat?
Yeah, there's that too.
So from Thunderdome Gaming Society, he was actually looking to unload some of his Evercade collection.
Oh, nice.
So he gave me first shot at it, and boy, oh boy, did I take a few days to think about it because I
Hmm.
was really going back and forth with some of them. One of the collections I didn't get, which I'm still, when he listens to this, he might text me going, "Hey, do you still want them?"
Yep.
Was the two Interplay collections.
Hmm.
Interplay had some amazing Earthworm Jim, the Clay Fighters, which is really what I was thinking about.
Yep.
And then one of them has, which I ended up playing yesterday just on my own on the Genesis, Boogerman,
Okay.
which I still swear to is a amazing game to
Oh, it's a
play.
fun game.
And I discovered when you use the 6 button pad, you can hit the Z button. Literally, all he just does the pose, Booger. And
Nice.
I was laughing hysterically because it's one of those quotes. We talked about quotes the other week. Careful, you're gonna throw your shoulder out.
Yeah, I
Um,
know.
we were talking about quotes a couple weeks ago, and what like just I'll say to my head every now and again, just booger. I just love that how he presents it. It's hysterical.
I don't know. That,
But
that that's all you.
oh, that's fantastic.
The only
But what
the only time I ever hear the word booger in my head is when I think about Revenge of the Nerds.
another good one, another very good reference. 40 years. Good Lord.
Yep.
So I got 4 games from him, from Evercade. First is the Oliver Twins collection that I got,
Nice.
which is a collection of what is the name of that? Dizzy. There's a bunch of Dizzy games they're called. The
Okay.
Fantastic Adventure of Dizzy, Dizzy this, Dizzy that, Dizzy Dame. So
Oh, that looks like a good
a
collection.
lot of games are on there. So that's a
Yeah.
good one. Another one called the Bitmap Brothers Collection, Collection 1. I don't remember seeing Collection 2 yet,
Okay.
but few games on there.
Nice.
There's a shooter there right in the middle. I'm really looking forward to
Your
playing.
favorite.
A few other sports games. And then the ones I'm really happy about, I got collections 1 and 2 of the Pico collections.
Ah, nice.
Yes,
Very
and I mean
nice.
these are games such as, just to name it literally a couple. I Need Glasses, Top Racer 2, World Trophy Soccer, what was Barclays Shut Up and Jam, Charles
Oh,
Barkley
yes.
Sub Jam is now just Hoops Shut Up and Jam.
Of course.
And then there's also Tin Head, Eight Eyes, Nightshade. Nightshade, that was on NES. That was a weird one.
I remember that. Yeah.
Power Punch 2. So a lot of interesting games, because Pico, great collection. Now, those are collections 1 and 2. I had to get collections 3 and 4.
Of
So
course
I
you
now
did.
have 3 and 4, which of those I got off of Amazon.
Okay.
3 and 4 feature even better games. Glover,
Yep.
which is actually a 32-bit game, which limited run just, I don't know if they put the pre-order up or it's going to be going up soon for physical release for
Yeah,
modern
something's going
consoles.
up. I have that in my retro news for today.
Oh, excellent. Risky Woods, Zero Tolerance, 40 Winks is another
Hmm.
one. So some great collections here. I was thinking about getting the arcade Pico collection, but I held off on that because I
Okay.
think I already had some of the games on the arcade archive.
All
So,
right.
but nevertheless, I got that. And then I'll get to thank him next week when he's on the show. But I opened up the box and I'm like, oh, this must have fell in by accident. But when I texted him, he was actually saying, nope, nope, I threw that in there. So very gentlemanly. Fable, The Lost Chapters. Lost Chapter,
Oh,
excuse me,
nice. Nicely done.
for the Xbox 360.
So you're
No,
slowly
the Xbox,
filling
excuse me.
slowly filling in your Fable collection.
Yes, which I actually have a few, and
Yep.
but nevertheless, it's that
Yep.
one there.
Oh, which also reminds me, that was another thing I picked up on Sunday. I forgot about that. I picked up Fable 2 to complete my set because I bought
Oh,
I,
that's right.
I bought three on Saturday and then I bought two on Sunday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, so that
Really
wrapped
look
up.
forward to playing those.
Yep. Again, wrapping up the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo. Again, thank you very much for letting us be there, and it was
Yep.
wonderful seeing everybody. Someone took a picture, wanted to take a picture with us, so that was pretty cool.
And we're not talking about you, Charles. Charlie took a picture with me
Did
when
he?
you
I didn't
weren't.
even see that one.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
he took a picture with me and posted it when you weren't there.
No, no, we found the gentleman on X who posted the picture up, and I apologize. I don't remember. I think I reshared it on X.
Yeah.
But it was just very cool, humbling as always.
Yes.
So thank you very much,
And
everybody.
also and also a quick thank you to Charlie and Jack and John and everybody else who stopped by our table, recorded a bit for us on the episode
General
last week.
Grunt.
So General Grunt, thank
Oh,
you.
I lived out a
Uh,
childhood dream.
I know you enjoyed that.
God, that was
So yeah,
awesome.
so a lot of good moments. And then while I'm thanking other people, 2 weeks ago, before the expo, Larry, you were not here. So I just wanted to do a quick thank you to Russell for
Yes.
joining me on the podcast for the first time ever. I don't know why it's taken so long to get him on the show. I've been wanting to get him on the show for a long time. But yeah, special thank you to him. And also for talking about an interesting topic we never talked about, which was, aging, gaming and aging.
And in all honesty, to find someone who just started gaming
Hmm.
at this age,
Yep.
that's a rarity. So that was very cool. And it was the first time, certainly won't be the last time, but that play of the Oregon Trail was so fun to watch.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that would be interesting because it works for a podcast. If you're not watching the game on video, you can at least hear the play by play.
No, even watching it was fun. So,
No, 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 I know.
yeah.
I'm just saying like it worked both ways. Like in other words, people listening to the show didn't have to turn it off because it was just you have to
Theater
watch
of the
it.
mind, theater of the mind.
Yeah. Well, and that's what games were back then.
So very cool stuff.
Yes.
All right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of this, what we're going to talk about this week, which if you're looking at the description of the episode, you already know what it is.
Yep.
It was,
It was.
right? Was
It
the
was.
35th anniversary of the North American release
Hmm.
of the literal game changer, the Sega Genesis.
It was a game changer for most people. It wasn't the game changer for Larry.
It took a little while.
Yeah,
It took a little while.
it did take you a while. You
Not
were
even a change, but to dent. It was a
No, I
game
know.
dent.
You were still a Nintendo snob back then.
Yes.
So.
Yes, I was. I don't remember you having a Genesis till later on.
Oh, I no, I had a
Oh,
Genesis.
did you? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
there were a lot of issues with when I had a lot of struggles trying to figure out which console to get games on because there were so many games that were on both
That
platforms.
really was a first world problem in the
It
late
was.
80s and early 90s. Well,
It
all the
really
90s, really.
Yeah, I mean it really was. It was especially like the famous ones to bring up would be like Mortal Kombat, where
Oh,
if you got
100%.
if you got the Super Nintendo one, there was no blood, which made
Yep.
no sense, and then the
Yep.
Genesis one was completely bloody, or the two different Aladdin games on the consoles. Like there were a lot of ones there were a lot of games that like you really had to debate where to get it from, which console to get it for.
No, you're right. I remember like the wrestling games actually were to me,
Yeah.
and probably for you, one of the biggest decisions, and which makes me think that then,
What do you mean? I just bought them all.
well, this is true. Well, eventually you did,
Well,
right?
and when I say
Yeah.
bought them all, I meant, begged my parents to buy them all for me for birthdays and Christmas.
As I say this now, as I'm like literally as we're recording, now I can probably almost pinpoint roughly which Christmas I got a Genesis because I never had the WWE games on Genesis
Oh, interesting.
because I don't think I had the option.
Mm.
So Super WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, Raw, I probably could have gotten on Genesis,
Hmm.
but yeah, Super WrestleMania and Royal Rumble because the rosters were different to the point where if I did have a choice, I probably would have gotten the Genesis rosters because there was enough difference in characters. I don't have the list in front of me, but there was enough difference in characters that to me, the Genesis one almost worked out. Like Hacksaw Jim Duggan was on one of the games. I think the Bulldog was on one of the games. Heck, I think Hogan was in one of the
Well,
games that
I was
wasn't in
gonna
the.
say, like, if you had a Genesis, you would have definitely bought Royal Rumble for the Genesis because it had Hogan.
Yeah, right. Hogan
The
wasn't. Hogan
the
wasn't in the Super Nintendo version.
No, he was not. Neither was Duggan. Duggan
Okay,
was
that's what it
in.
was. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the WWF Raw game that came out
Hmm.
was the same on both systems. They did
Except for
not change. Well,
except for the
let's not. We're
32X.
not talking about the 32X. We're talking about Genesis and Super Nintendo. They
Look,
had the same roster.
you have to mention Quang.
He was only on the 32X, and that
He
just doesn't
was.
exist. That
He
does not
was.
exist.
Yeah, I always found it weird. Again, I'm sure there was a reason why, but it was weird that Hogan wasn't on the Super Nintendo one.
Yeah. Well, and also because you got a Genesis later on in its life cycle, you also did not have the Sega CD, which had the awesome Rage in the Cage game.
Well, but now I did have Rage in the Cage later on. So
No, I know later on. I'm
I
saying
feel
like
like,
when it first came out.
yeah, again, I might be wrong. Though I can't remember past 3 months ago. So I can't,
Fair.
I'm just saying I might have, or maybe I just stuck with Super Nintendo because I did enjoy the Nintendo more than Sega.
Hmm.
Rage in the Cage, oh,
Without any
fantastic.
experience with the Sega. Yep.
Yeah. So so Sega Genesis was always my just it was a secondary system to me.
Yeah.
And for that reason, we always joke about it, but in all reality, yeah, I was all Nintendo.
Yep.
That was it for me. And I'm trying to think of the game that prompted me to want to get a Genesis. It probably ended up being Sonic or
Hmm.
Sonic 2, probably.
Yeah.
And I always got consoles typically for Christmas. That's when I got them.
Yeah.
When did you usually get consoles? Like
Yeah.
birthdays
No, no,
or
it was exactly the same thing. It was
and
birthdays or Christmas.
I was gonna say your birthday's a couple months out from Christmas anyway.
Yeah. So
So
mine would just be like a back to back type of
exactly,
deal.
exactly. And I remember when my grandfather passed away, and that Christmas I didn't get a console. And then I'm like,
Oh.
oh, I think that just put two and two together on that one.
Hmm.
So the Sega Genesis,
Grandpa was Santa.
he was for consoles he was, yeah, and
Yeah.
then Santa was Santa for everything else.
Hmm.
And so what are some of your early memories of the Genesis? Do you remember
Uh,
getting the Genesis? Like the
I
actual
I don't remember the
All right.
actual day I got the Genesis, but I do remember getting it because I got it with Sonic as the pack-in game, the
One
original
or two?
Sonic.
Okay.
One.
Okay.
One. So I got the Genesis after the Altered Beast um
Yes.
console release
Hmm.
because that was the original packing game and then it became Sonic when Sonic was released. So I want to say my Sega Genesis purchase was probably somewhere around I want to say 91. So it was
Okay.
I believe it was a couple of years later. I don't remember exactly when Sonic
Yeah, that's
became the
fine. Yeah.
packing game. So I want to say like 91,
Hmm.
which was also the same year the Super Nintendo came out if I'm not mistaken. I think I may have gotten both consoles the same year.
Whoa, that's okay. That's some
Yeah.
heavy lifting.
Well, but it would make sense for me because again, birthday Christmas type of thing.
True, true.
If not, I would have gotten the console in 92. So like would have been like like one Christmas was Super Nintendo, one Christmas was Genesis.
Yeah. And
Because
Super Nintendo you got first.
I got Super Nintendo
Okay.
first. I do
Okay.
remember that because the Nintendo was so awesome, it seemed like a no-brainer to get that. And of course, Super Mario World. I still remember playing Super Mario the first
Oh
time.
gosh,
But
yes.
putting Sonic in and playing Sonic was like a revelation. I was like, holy cow. I go, this guy just flies through. It's like I don't even have time to recognize what's going on in the background. It's like we're just running. And I'm like, and that was it was just so awesome for a game to go that quickly because that it was just a whole new idea. I mean, you can go through levels of Super Mario Brothers fast, but when I was a kid, I never did it that way. Like I never really held down the B button to go super fast all the time like I do now.
Don't tell me you walked through some levels of Super Mario World.
Of Super Mario World, no. Super Mario World was all about
Oh, okay,
running.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
no, no, no. I ran through a lot. Well, you had to run so you could fly.
This is true.
So they
But
made you do
you
that.
walked in Super Mario Brothers? This is something we're going to have to talk about later on.
I think so. I think in the beginning I did.
So truth be told, when we were doing Super Mario Brothers a couple weeks ago, I actually thought about doing it, even though you can't because you do need momentum for some of it.
Yeah,
But I was debating walking through the game, which just put me in a panic mode thinking about it.
nice.
So I can't even I don't
With
think I've ever played Super Mario Brothers without lifting my thumb off the B button.
yeah, well, I do as a kid, if I remember correctly, I do. I don't know. But the Genesis, yeah, I remember getting it with Sonic, and Sonic was awesome.
Yep.
But then after Sonic, this is where I have like a gap with the Genesis because I don't remember the other games at the time that I got for it. Like I remember getting Castlevania Bloodlines, and that was awesome. But I think that was in like 93, 94. and then of course all the wrestling games. I played
Yeah.
all the wrestling games on the Genesis. Those were all really fun.
And you got the Genesis versions then?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I got a mix of them at the
Okay.
time.
Okay.
So again, I got Super WrestleMania. I remember getting that specifically on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
But then Royal Rumble, I remember having the Genesis one as well. And I think
Okay.
that was because of the different characters. I was always
Hmm.
about the different characters
I
that I
hear
like.
you. Yep.
I want to say, was the British Bulldog in the Royal Rumble one too? I think he might have been.
I think so. I
Yeah.
think
So
so.
yeah, so there was enough of a difference between the two games in terms of characters, even though it was
Hmm.
maybe only two or three,
Yeah.
that made me want to get it. So so I definitely had that one. Raw, I only had on Super Nintendo at the time.
Okay. Yeah. Me
And
too.
then
That's
I
why.
got
Yeah.
and then I got the 32X Raw for Quang eventually, but
You sure did.
that was many years later, and it was such a waste of money.
Oh, poor Quang.
It just was. So, but Genesis to me will always be defined by the Sonic games for sure.
Hmm.
Um, Most importantly to me, the Shining Force games. Once I played Shining Force,
Yes.
I was in. I was like, oh, I was like, because I wasn't a big RPG fan on the Nintendo.
Hmm.
Like, I don't even think I knew what Final Fantasy was when I had an NES.
Seriously, me too. This
Yeah.
real quick, just to go back. I think you're thinking about either Super WrestleMania. You must be thinking about Super WrestleMania because the Bulldog, I don't think was in Royal Rumble, period.
All right, he was in
Yeah.
Super WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, RPGs. I think the only RPG I probably had was Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest,
Yeah,
because everyone
I
who
think everybody had a copy of that at one
exactly
point.
everyone who subscribed to Nintendo Power got it for free.
Hmm.
So everyone had it. And I definitely don't remember playing it. But beyond that, you're right. Final Fantasy, I might have seen it on the shelf, but I never thought about it. But I still, to this day, I still can't figure out how Shining Force ended up in my life. Kind of like what you said. Like, where
Yeah.
did it come from? And like it appeared out of nowhere, like a stork delivering a baby.
Well, I remember seeing the cover of the game, and I thought, and then obviously like looking at the back, because that's a lot of how you decided
100%. Yeah.
even at that, even at that point, because this is obviously pre-internet. So it's either you learned about a game through a video game magazine,
Hmm.
or you stood in the store and your parents are there with you, and it's
Yep.
like, you either have enough money to buy one game for yourself because allowance,
Yep.
or you're in that special moment of they want to buy you a game. So
Absolutely.
so you are browsing the way you would buy like clothes. It's like, here's
You're
everything.
exactly right.
Yeah, here are all of the games. I'm gonna look at them. I'm gonna read the backs to them. I'm gonna look at the pictures and everything like that. And I remember I liked the cover of Shining Force because as a kid, I also liked Dungeons and Dragons.
Hmm.
And so, and the cover of Shining Force, it has the main character standing there. He's got his sword and everything like that. And
Yep.
he has a very elf-like look
He
on the cover, in
does.
my opinion.
He does. And then
So
a very like Clash of the Titan, Jason and the Argonauts type
a little bit.
with the skeletons. So
Yeah, yeah, a little bit of
yeah.
that too. So when I saw the cover of that, it piqued my interest because it reminded me of Dungeons and Dragons. It also reminded me of the elf from Gauntlet. And I loved Gauntlet on the
Okay.
NES.
Okay.
It was the green. It also helps that the green gives him a Link look as well, like Zelda.
Yeah, he's
So
very linkish.
probably, yeah. So there was probably like some, like there was a lot going on in my head where I was connecting this to other games. So when I looked at the back and I checked it out, I said, "Oh, this looks really cool. I want to play this."
Yeah.
And so that was probably the first RPG I really ever played. And to be honest with you, to this day, aside from my experience with Final Fantasy VII on the original PlayStation, Shining Force to me was like the best RPG experience I've ever had.
Okay.
Mostly because of the battle format. I to this day will
Yes.
I love the strategic battle format of having all of you, like, you don't have a 3 character limit. You have 12 characters, up to
Yeah.
12 characters on the board, and you're moving them. Oh, you got a thumbs up there. And you're
Oh,
moving
did that
them.
show on your
Yeah,
screen?
it did show
I
up.
don't know if that's Zoom or something else, but it happens every.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Put
I
your
thought I
thumbs down.
disabled that.
That's
Okay.
just rude. But I just remember doing the strategy format on the map, and I'm like, oh, I go, this is really awesome. I like the way these battles are done. And then later on, when I started playing Final Fantasy type games, and it was just like the three character thing, it to me it wasn't as exciting as the Shining Force format. So and then obviously, eventually Final Fantasy Tactics came out, and they kind of started doing the same thing, which was great.
And
Again,
that's
not
what it's
enough.
called. It's called
Yeah,
that gameplay is called
the
tactics.
gameplay is
Yeah.
called Tactics. So absolutely fell in love with that with Shining Force. The probably I want to say it was the first RPG I played all the way through because I absolutely loved it.
It definitely was for me.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And yeah, to this day, it's funny. I feel like a lot of people have that same story about Shining Force. Like they kind of don't know where it came from, but we all ended up with it. And it's one of the first games I also like besides like not counting like Super Mario Brothers, which was released on everything.
of
But
course.
Shining Force is probably the only true game that I've replayed when it's been re-released. So originally on the Genesis, then when it was re-released on the Game Boy Advance. I
Hmm.
think I went through most of it on one of the virtual consoles. I got a Shining Force might very well be. I know we talked about it a few months ago, but Shining Force might be maybe the other top game that I've repurchased over and over and over again.
Nice.
And then Shining Force 2 just added on top of that. And to this day, as you know, I'm still not into that Final Fantasy turn-based role
Hmm.
play, but tactics, give me that Final
Yeah.
Fantasy Tactics. Uh, oh, those like a front front mission. That's what it's called. Front mission was like that as well, which
Yeah.
has recently been re-released on modern consoles. So yeah, Genesis definitely opened my eyes, as yours as well, to that tactics role-playing game, and
Yeah.
Shining Force nailed it. Now, as far as sports, because the Genesis was, if it
Hmm.
wasn't a Sonic console, it was a sports console.
Oh man, they signed every celebrity they could, every sports celebrity they could to do a game.
Were you into sports games, like heavy into sports games back then?
No, I wasn't. And I mean, on the Nintendo, I was with like I had Double Dribble, I had Blades of Steel.
Yeah,
So like I had those. I go, but it wasn't because I wasn't big into sports as a kid.
yeah.
So like I started to get into hockey in the
I was
early
the same.
90s, which is when the Genesis came out. So
Yeah.
that's actually when I really started playing more games. But if I remember correctly, I definitely was never a baseball fan, right?
Mhm.
Baseball was never my thing, and it still isn't. But on the Genesis, I remember two specific games sports games that I loved. The obvious one, actually, there were three. The obvious one is NHL '94, which is
It's
considered today still the definitive hockey game.
not mine though, but it is
Yeah.
for everyone else. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are still tournaments being held, like in places for
And
NHL '94.
and not only that, but even today, there's still modders and hackers who make modern NHL games for the Genesis,
Yep.
and it's all based on EA put out what 2, 3 years ago, maybe put
Yep.
out EA like
Updated
2021 or something,
rosters.
but
Yeah.
and it looked like NHL '94.
Yeah. I
So
wouldn't be surprised if they're still doing that every year.
no, I only saw it just the
Do
one
they only do the
year.
1 year? Oh,
I
that's
want to say it was
interesting.
like maybe during the pandemic or something, so I don't remember.
Oh, maybe they just had some free time on their hands.
Maybe, but
But
yeah.
yeah, so like NHL '94 was one of them. The other one was a basketball game, which I also find weird. I didn't really watch a lot of basketball, and I don't remember which one it was that I had. It was either Bulls versus Blazers in the NBA playoffs or Bulls versus Lakers because they came out with two different ones.
They did. I feel like I remember seeing, and I remember looking at it like, wow, we're not into basketball, but you have a basketball game. Okay. I
Yep.
feel like it was Blazers because I
That's
feel
what
like I
I think
remember
it
the
is.
logo. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think it is too.
Yeah.
And then the third game that I had, which we also played like crazy,
This
and
is
that
another one that I
I
don't
know
know
that made
who
no sense.
started it.
No sense to us whatsoever. And then I just wound up buying it earlier this year.
Yeah.
It was PGA Tour 3 on the Sega Genesis. There it is. I have it in
Look,
box.
very nice. Well,
Yes.
I technically I do too, but all the boxes are in the back room.
Oh, that's right.
Um, yeah. So truth be told, in high school, we both tried out for the golf team.
Yes, that's right.
and I'm still not 100% sure why we did, but oh no, I know why I did. I like golf. I enjoyed golf.
You liked golf, and
I don't
then
know why
I
you did it.
I did it because I was just like, yeah, I'll try.
I feel like we went to a
Um,
pitch and putt one day. You're like, I can do this.
and you know what I learned? I couldn't.
Yeah, don't trust me. I was on the team and I learned I couldn't. So
Yeah.
be that as it may.
Yeah, but see
And
that tells you how bad our high school team was. You made the team, and I was like second alternate. And I'm
I
like,
made the
why am I second?
team.
I go, I'm second alternate on what? On like the worst golf team ever.
So yeah, basically
It was
we
so
made the
bad.
team because it was just the number of kids who tried out for
Yeah, like
golf.
literally six people tried out and they needed six people for the team.
I think once I actually like played and my score counted, and the golf coach, if you remember him, he
Yep.
wanted to wring my neck. He he wanted he was like he was not happy with me. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here. All I know is I got a letter. At the end of the school
Mm,
year, I got a letter. It's the only letter I ever got. I'm very happy about it.
nice.
And I did have and I was the cool kid on the team because I had a putter that was completely the head of the putter was completely it was cylindrical. It was a cylinder basically.
Oh, wow.
Oh, everyone looked at me like what is even from the
You're
other
cheating.
schools. No, I remember I went to a golf. We actually went to a golf expo out at like Nassau Coliseum or at the Javits.
Oh, nice.
Now, high school, so this 94, 95. I was like a freshman, sophomore. So it was like mid 90s. And I remember I saw this putter, complete no flat piece on the putter whatsoever, except for the two far ends. The piece that hits the ball was completely round.
Mm,
Like, that's interesting. That's weird. So I picked it up and it was like, ooh, that's a cool looking putter. And then when I went and used it, they're like, all right, clearly this is user error, not the putter's fault.
right, exactly.
But with that being said, how the hell we came about PGA Tour Golf 3, I still have no idea.
I don't
Because some
know.
of our friends as well, including he who shall not be named, who I don't think ever touched a golf club in his life outside of miniature golf, he was into this as well. And
Yeah.
we were keeping scores, doing tournaments. It was
Yeah, we were doing
wild.
all, yeah, it was crazy. I remember. Yeah, it just made no sense to me.
I
Um,
haven't popped this in forever. I got to put this back in.
well, when I bought it, I popped it into my Polymega to copy it over, and then I played a little bit, and it was so much fun.
It was assembled in Puerto Rico.
Oh,
I never
interesting.
seen that before. I didn't even know they
Okay.
assembled games in Puerto Rico. Okay.
I'm actually on eBay right now looking at Shining Force prices because when I moved, one of the boxes,
Mhm.
because I kept everything in plastic cases,
You
and one of the
did
movers,
labeled. Oh my
yep,
God.
one of the movers dropped one and it broke.
Oh,
And lo and behold, two of my games that went missing, Shining Force 2 and X-Men 2 Clone Wars. And of course, Shining Force 2 is the more expensive one.
how much
So
is
I'm
that
gonna,
going for today?
well, Lucid's going for like, it looks like 70-ish.
Really?
In box, people are going around the 150 to 170 range.
Wow. I didn't think it would
And
be that
if you want to
expensive.
buy a brand new factory sealed one that's CGC graded at a 9.2, you can drop 3 grand.
It's so hard for me. We can talk about this next time. It's so
Yep.
hard for me to believe what might still be factory sealed because anyone can get a factory sealer
I
nowadays.
know.
So my
So
my
yeah,
friend's
just
grandmother had one, and that was in the 90s.
yeah, just really sad now that I have to buy another
I'm
one.
just shocked because it's been released so many times.
I know, you know what it was? I think Shining Force 2, it came out later in the Genesis life cycle, so it wasn't bought as much. Although Shining Force 1 still goes for around $50 loose. So
That's
no,
not
they're not.
bad.
No, no, it's not bad, but they're not like the, you know what I mean? A lot of Genesis games, that's the other thing too. A lot of Genesis games were mass produced to the point where like you can buy a lot of them for like inexpensively,
Mm.
even today. So to find the ones that are actually worth more than, worth a good amount of money, I mean, just plays off the rarity of them.
Shining Force 2 came out in North America October 19th of 94.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's yeah, so that was, yeah, 94 was around the time we started to hear about the next gen consoles. Like the Jaguar came out, and then we were then
Jaguar.
and then we started hearing about the Sony PlayStation and all of that stuff. So I can understand it not getting not
Yeah.
getting picked up by a lot of people. So, but again, Shining Force by far one of my favorite Genesis. Um,
Probably for me, yeah, you're right. Top three, definitely. I didn't even think about
easily.
doing a top three. We could probably do it off the top of our heads. But before we get there, going back to sports games, now you mentioned with NES having sports games on NES, and we did, but a lot of
Hmm.
them, not all of them. I know there were simulation, that more deep dove into it. But games like Double Dribble, games like
Bases loaded.
Bases Loaded, Blades of Steel,
Hmm.
Blades of Steel.
Still
And I'm
remember
sorry,
that.
Double Dribble.
And of course, Double
Those
Dribble.
those were more arcade style. You know what I mean? It
Hmm.
was the Genesis where I remember where you started getting these more, I'll say more serious
Hmm.
type of games. I don't think I've ever owned a baseball game for the Genesis. In fact, really, the only baseball game I ever played, to me, the best baseball game
Really?
of all time is Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball on the Super
Mhm.
Nintendo. Best of all time, period.
Okay.
Um,
I'll take your word for that.
on Genesis, I know everyone, and I'm not knocking it, don't get me wrong. I believe it was in Mallrats. I think it was featured.
Was it?
Um, NHL 94.
Oh, yes. Yes, it was.
Right, he was playing as the
He
Whalers, I
was he
think.
was playing,
Who's
yeah, he was
yeah.
playing as the Whalers. Once upon a
um,
time, there was a team called the
oh
Whalers.
no, maybe it wasn't. The movie came out in 94. Oh, they probably filmed in 95. Anyway,
No, 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 he was.
yeah. But my definitive hockey game was NHL PA 93. Oh,
Oh,
I
wow.
played that. Yeah, it's just the one that I picked up. And again,
Hmm.
I didn't get into hockey until about 5 years ago. So I don't know how I ended up with that game, but I ended up with it, fell in love with it, played the heck out of it. I probably just played the Rangers because it was New York. I didn't know who
Of
to.
course.
Um,
You always pick the Rangers. They're the best team.
well, nowadays we'll see. No, but nevertheless, yeah, NHLPA 93 was mine. Basketball, I don't think I've ever owned a basketball game. And football, I remember I had no, no, John Elway's, no, Joe Montana's
There you go.
football. I don't think I had that. I might have had that. I definitely had a Madden game. And I keep getting Quarterback Club. I might have had Quarterback Club just for Game Boy, though, now that I think about it. But
Okay.
I had a couple of football games. In fact, now that I remember, now it just came back to me. Tecmo Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Now, Tecmo, I want to say,
Was that on Genesis?
oh, it certainly was. Because
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
trying to remember which one it was. I want to say Tecmo Super Bowl 3.
Okay.
I feel like that was it. Yeah, it came out on the Genesis August of 95.
Okay.
I
Oh,
remember when I
yes.
first got this game, loved it. Oh my God, played it if it was 3. Might have been 2. And anyway, I played as New England Patriots.
Of course.
This is the first game I played when
Yeah.
I booted up the game. I was the Patriots against the Dolphins. I won the game. Don't hold me to it. I don't have to score exact. 182 to like 12.
No, you played the Dolphins.
Still. No, but I played the Patriots when they weren't the Patriots yet.
Mm,
Because I love the Patriots when they were dog poo.
yeah.
And but I racked up so many touchdowns. I didn't even know a football game can make triple digits on the scoreboard. It was so funny when that happened. I'm like,
Nice.
wow, this game a little too easy.
Well, you could have upped the difficulty.
Nah, you don't do that.
Yeah, so you don't
Uh,
do that. You'd rather win the hundred something than nothing.
it wasn't rookie. I didn't play rookie. I played
Okay.
regular. It was
Okay.
definitely regular. So sports games ad nauseum.
Yep.
And then as I was actually just talking about earlier with the Evercade, some of like the quirky games. And when I say quirky, not gameplay, and the games came out for other systems, I
Yep.
know, but like Boogerman. I had
Yep.
that on Genesis. I had like that weird Vector Man,
Vector
which
Man.
is a great game. Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
Great game. Just the way, look, because it was showing off that blast processing
Yep.
that Genesis was always touting. And I'm just trying to think some other oddball games
Oh,
I had.
I
Yeah.
mean, one that only came out on the Genesis, Toe Jam and Earl.
I never played that game
I
originally.
loved Toe Jam and Earl.
A lot of people
Loved,
do.
loved, loved
Friend of the
it.
show, Mario,
Yep.
adores that game. I never owned it,
Yeah.
never got into it.
Again, and again, not an odd game, but you never played it?
I don't think I've ever properly played it.
Okay.
I've played it, but not sat down to
Oh,
play it.
it's super fun. It is so much fun. The other one I was gonna say was not. It's not that it's an odd game, but it was definitely a very original game, and I believe it was only on the Genesis. Comics Zone.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, where
Yep.
the beat 'em up where you're going through the actual. panels on a
Oh
comics
my
page.
gosh. I might
Fantastic.
I want to say I owned that originally.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think I owned that originally.
Yep.
I'm shocked that never came out with a sequel.
Agreed. Agreed. It was fantastic. And then Splatterhouse 3 was another
Yes.
one that I
Never
had on the
I
Genesis.
never
I
owned
never
that one.
I definitely owned 3. I never owned 1 or 2. I don't think 1 came out on the Genesis. That was on TurboGrafx.
Yeah.
But
Um,
2 came out on Genesis if I remember correctly. But I didn't know about it at the time. But I did buy 3 because I think that's really when I started to like really get into like horror stuff. I
okay.
was into horror stuff on the Nintendo too. I had Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and whatnot. But yeah, Splatterhouse 3 to me was like, ooh, I'm playing through a horror movie. Perfect.
Did you own hard driving?
No, I did not.
The hard driving was always interesting back then. Again, you got to put yourself in the shoes back then.
Yeah.
It was meant to be like virtual reality, and I remember booting it up the first time, and I'm like, oh my
Hmm.
god, this is graphics are never going to get better than this.
Yuck, yuck.
Yeah, no, for real. I'm like, this feels like I'm actually driving and
Hmm.
hitting the cow on the
Yep.
side of the barn. I played a lot of hard driving,
Yep.
but also not Nintendo, Genesis. We talked before where games came out on both systems, right?
Yep.
Nintendo and Sega. And Sega got the better of the two, like Aladdin, like Mortal Kombat, like Street Fighter.
Yep.
Um, but it got some weird versions. Like the only one that stands out to me was The Adventures of Batman and Robin.
Oh, yes.
Top, top 10. I might even dare say for me personally, top five
Okay.
Super NES games of all time. The Adventures of Batman and
I
Robin.
can understand that.
Almost perfect.
Hmm.
The Genesis version was clearly a different R&D department, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
went in a totally different direction.
Oh, yes, they did.
The only good thing with the Genesis version, in my opinion, was you got to play as Robin. That was the
Yes.
only difference.
Yeah, but the support on yeah, I mean, having him as a support character in the other version of the Super Nintendo one, I mean, worked
Oh,
out fine.
fun, but you wanted to play as
Yeah. Well, people who are prone to want to be a sidekick want to play with him.
him.
Everybody else wants to be Batman.
Your thoughts on the Echo series?
Okay, Echo. So I
And I
owned,
know what your thoughts are on the Echo series.
yes, so I loved
Yep.
Echo the Dolphin on the Sega Genesis. Absolutely loved it. What you may not know about me and my love for the Echo the Dolphin game is I never played through the game.
What?
I would put the game in and I would just swim.
Would you ASMR in the early 90s?
Maybe, I don't know. There was something very, you know what it was? I remember in the first level of the game,
Yeah.
there was somebody that you had to get past that for the longest time I couldn't figure out how to do it. So every time I would put the game in, I would just swim for like half an hour and I'd be very happy. But I also remember like the sounds to the game, like you said, ASMR and the music to the first
It
level when
was
you got to places.
very, yes.
It was very chill, very calming, and I just absolutely just loved the idea of just I would swim around, I'd
I,
listen to the music,
I,
I'd hear the splash when I would jump out of the water and back in. You shoot
I
your sonar out and you hear the noise. It was just very, yeah, it was just like one of those things.
I would have bet dollars to donuts that you completed all the Echo games. This is the first I'm learning about
Nope.
this.
I owned Echo for the Genesis, and then I believe I owned Echo for the Sega CD. I never bought Echo Tides of Time, which
Really?
was the
I'm
sequel.
again, I could have
Nope.
sworn I saw you with it.
Nope.
Okay.
I just loved, you know what? Maybe in my past life I was a dolphin. I just loved swimming around.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So yeah, exactly. So
Oh,
that one for sure was one I remember fondly. I would never put it as like one of my favorites of all time on the system, but
well,
that was the one that definitely kept me chill.
I'm learning a lot about it. Well, you should have played it a lot more when I met you. Holy cow.
Well, that's when I got competitive. But the other games that I just wanted to bring up
Yeah, do it.
briefly
Yeah.
on the
We'll wrap
Genesis,
this up. Yeah.
yeah, were the again as a comic book fan, the
Oh,
Marvel games on the
definitive.
Genesis. Because after being disappointed on the NES with X-Men, Wolverine was actually a decent game on the NES, but they didn't really have a strong Marvel presentation on the NES.
Literally and figuratively.
Yes. But once we got to the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, they definitely had some really good ones. And again, somewhat different. But on the Genesis specifically, I remember the X-Men games, X-Men and
Hmm.
X-Men 2 Clone Wars, which I loved playing. And I was a big X-Men fan growing up. Captain America and the Avengers, which I believe I had on the Genesis, not on the Super Nintendo.
Okay, I played the Genesis version for that game of the week.
Yep.
I fell in love with that.
Yep. Super fun. And then, of course, you had the Spider-Man games, Spider-Man and the X-Men, Maximum Carnage, Separation Anxiety, Lethal Foes. Like there were some really, really solid Marvel games on there. And I was reading all of those comics at the time, so it was just perfect for me to switch off from reading the comics to actually playing as these characters.
That's
And
cool.
they did a great job on the Genesis. I owned most of them, and the ones I didn't own, I rented.
See, that's funny. And again, I'm not saying it was bad, and it was basically the same game, but maybe because I grew up with the Super Nintendo version of Spider-Man Venom Maximum Carnage,
Hmm.
I just wasn't crazy about the Genesis version. I picked up the Genesis version because it was the only one that was available when I started doing the collection again.
Yeah.
And then eventually, just about a couple months ago, I was able to get the Super NES version, which is my definitive version. Because I got the Super Nintendo version, I ended up at the Expo, ended up trying to hawk off my Genesis version of
Yeah.
Maximum Carnage. Wasn't biting until literally like the last minute of the show.
Uh-huh.
Very good friend of the show, a follower, a listener as well, and we've become friends over the years, the two of us with him, Phil.
Yep.
Um, he ended up picking up my Maximum Carnage for Genesis.
Nice.
So, literally, it was the very last thing I bought at the very end of the expo.
That you sold.
I
Yeah.
sold, excuse me, that I sold,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
So,
That's awesome. So you had a final
went,
sale.
went to a very good home. I should have signed it. I forgot to sign it for him. Oh
You totally should have signed it. I
well.
don't remember what my final sale was at the show, but it was before I left.
Yes, totally. So yeah, so
You didn't sell anything after I left.
of yours,
Yeah, no.
I don't
Oh,
think so.
you pocketed cash? What's going on?
Did I?
No.
Uh-oh, I might have to think about that.
No, I don't think you did.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'll come back
continue.
to it. All right. So let's put you on the spot. Top three Genesis games.
Oh man,
I
that's
know.
tough. All right, so top three. Again, I'm
Yeah.
literally doing this off the top of my head. If I had to pick top three, I gotta go with Castlevania Bloodlines is three. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is number two. Shining Force is number one.
You know what? I same three, but I would put them in a different order.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Shining Force number one, period.
Hmm.
But I would swap, even though I love Sonic, I'm starting to think the more we talk, I'm thinking Bloodlines is what got me to want a Genesis.
Okay. Yeah, because you
So
were a huge Castlevania fan, and Bloodlines was
loved
only
it.
on the
Loved
Genesis.
it. Short
Yeah.
of one hiccup in the series at that time. Amazing run
Oh, are you
on
kidding
Nintendo.
me?
So,
All great. All of them were great. Top
oh,
notch.
final
A
thing to
list.
mention. The the change from the clamshell cases to the cardboard boxes.
Okay, that was a big miss.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
what happened there?
Cost
No, no, no,
saving.
no. I mean, literally, I'm not talking literally. I'm just mean like for you, when you saw they finally started selling in the cardboard boxes, I was like, oh, what is this?
Yeah, it was such a downgrade. I was so disappointed. I really
Because the,
because those things and they broke so easily.
Oh, they ripped. Well,
Yeah.
to be fair, I don't think I kept any of the cardboard ones. As usual, who knew back then? I just threw them
Yeah.
out. But there was something, that was also we failed to mention that with the Genesis, you bought the game and the game came in the box, and that was the box of the game that you kept it in there. You never
Well, yeah,
got
you
rid of
kept it in there because it was hard plastic.
Exactly. It was
So
a
it was like
storage. Yeah.
there was yeah, it was durability. Up until then, like you bought a Nintendo game, an Atari game and stuff like that. It was all cardboard and after opening and closing it so many times, it would just, deteriorate.
I don't think I've ever even thought about, and it was never I bought a game, I threw out the box. Again, no one ever thought about it.
Oh, see, no, I used to keep the boxes until they were just messed up and then I would throw them out.
No, no. I was
Yeah.
always my mother always had made me keep the box for a little bit in case we had to return it. But
Hmm.
like after like a 4 week period or something, or even
Yeah.
shorter than that, gone. All
Yeah.
gone. But
Nope.
the Genesis, those are the ones I kept.
Oh,
And
nice.
I want to, again, don't hold me to it. I'm just saying this off of memory. I feel like Bloodlines was one of the games that was in the literal middle of that transition where the early games were the hard case, and then
Hmm.
later on was the cardboard. I pretty sure I got it when it was cardboard.
Oh, see, and I have the hard case.
I definitely don't have the hard case.
I definitely have the hard case, and it's one of the reasons why I never got rid of it.
No, that's a good one.
Yeah, because it's
Um,
also one of those games that's a little pricey.
and yeah. And then so besides that though, the Genesis, whether it's 3 buttons, whether it's 6 buttons, it don't matter. It's the Genesis. It was an amazing
It,
system.
it mattered when Street Fighter came out and you only had a three button.
That was the only time it truly
Yes.
mattered. Fighters. That's
Yes.
where Super Nintendo did have its lead a little bit until that 6 button came out, and then it was
Yep.
game over at that point. And then just, of course, Sega just trying to squeeze the life out of that Genesis with the 32X, with the
Yep.
Sega CD, and any other add-ons. But in itself, 35 years of pure joy. I have, of course, the analog Mega SG. That's my Genesis. But I never owned Model 1
Hmm.
officially. I mean, I probably got one later on in life, but
Yeah.
like back then, I started with Model 2. When I went to college, I bought the Model 3.
Yep.
And those are the ones I had for a long time. And yeah, just going back to some of these Genesis games, Lord knows I'll probably pick up some today now that we talked about it because I'm heading over there
You're
later
heading
on.
over to Game On, I
I'll be
know.
heading, it's only a couple stores
Yep.
down. So
Well, and for me, I have the I don't remember if I had the Model 1 Genesis. I know I had the Model 2 Sega CD,
I
but
definitely had Model 2. I never had Model 1 Sega CD. Yeah.
no, neither did I, and I would love to have it.
Oh,
But my collection right now has a Sega Genesis. I don't remember if it's Model 1 or 2. The Model 2 Sega CD, which Jack fixed for me a couple of years ago, and then the JVC XI that I picked up
yes.
on my trip to when I went to visit a friend in Missouri several years ago. So that is the extent of my 16-bit Sega collection.
I'll be damned if I recognize Missouri.
Yep.
Yeah, no, very cool stuff. And happy birthday, happy belated birthday to the Genesis.
Yes,
And
happy 35th.
the folks at home, hit us up on social media, email us, let us know your thoughts, your memories, your love, your hate of the Genesis, and where can they contact us and find us?
You guys can find us on Facebook.com/Retro Gamers Podcast, on Instagram at Retro Gamers Podcast, on Twitter at
X.
Retro Gamers Pod. You can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube and Spotify at Retro Gamers Podcast, or you can email us at email@theretrogamers.com.
And with that, let's get into a very short
Yes.
game of the week.
Yes, we're going to get into a short game of the week because, good Lord, why did you let somebody else pick the game of the week?
I love Mario. He's a great friend.
No, he's not.
But after this one might be. No, I've been teasing him this entire time.
Yeah,
The
as you
Immortal.
should, because you know why? You let him pick it. You have to live stream it this week.
Um, I'm gonna
Yes.
try to. It might be a short
Yep.
one.
It will be a
So,
short one, but good luck.
yeah, the Immortal on the NES
Yes.
is what I've been trying to play it on. It's been out on a few systems. Yeah, and look, I get it. It's been 3 weeks maybe since this was announced,
Hmm.
so I had more than enough time to try and learn how to play the game. But there are just some things in life, whether it's a roommate from college, whether it's a actor from a Next Generation series, or a video game that they've done nothing wrong in life. They haven't
Oh, they have.
crossed you in any way whatsoever,
Hmm.
but you just don't get along with them. You just don't like them. That's it. You don't wish ill will. You just don't
No,
like it.
no, no.
The
I-
Immortal
Yep.
is that to me. I hate this game.
Yep.
I loathe this game
And why do you loathe it?
because I can't stand the gameplay of it. So it's a, I guess you can call it a role playing game. I'm trying to find, here it is.
Role-playing dungeon crawler.
Kind of so the
Yeah.
isometric game
Yes,
came out on
isometric for sure.
came out on the Genesis July 11th, 1991. The NES and whatever, oh, the Apple II GS. Okay. It came out November of 1990. Then Japan got it August of 93.
Ah, so it was a
Out.
Genesis game, not an NES game.
Well, no. It started on
It
NES.
started on the
Then it went
NES?
to
Okay.
Genesis. Yeah.
Got it, got it, got it.
Then
Okay.
Japan, then the Evercade, then the Switch. Um, I just maybe it's the isometric view that is just not doing it for me. I don't
Maybe.
mind the game. Like I don't mind the story. I like the story. I don't mind the graphics on the NES. I think they're actually really good graphics
Yep.
on the NES. But I don't. Maybe it's that role playing aspect that, and I wouldn't call it a true role playing game. It's an action adventure game,
Yep.
but to me, it feels like a role playing game. I couldn't get into. Some things aren't explainable. I couldn't get into it. That's
Okay.
it. I'm sorry. I want to trust me when I tell you I hate when people do this, but I'm doing it right now. And
Oh,
this is my exception. There's an exception to every rule. And this is my exception where, try not to bash it. You find what's good about
yes.
something. I cannot find a redeeming value for the Immortal. Um,
Okay. I'll find a little bit for you. How about
okay,
that?
do it.
Okay. So the story is good if you are a fan of, again, dungeon crawlers, Dungeons and Dragons, magic, and that type of
Fantasy
stuff.
stuff. I
Like,
love the story. Love the
yeah, yeah,
story.
yeah. Like the story part is good. You're trying to rescue your mentor going through these levels in these dungeons. You run across people, you run across goblins and all kinds of things that you need to fight. There are booby traps everywhere.
Booby.
Booby traps. Every time I say that, I
Oh,
think I think of Data from the Goonies. Setting booty traps. You mean booby traps? That's what I said. Setting booby traps.
awesome movie. Side note,
So, go ahead.
this damn copy has the Immortal on it.
That's excellent. See, now
Pico
you have it.
Collection 1.
Now you have it in your permanent collection, which is
Wonder
great.
which version.
So, and you play as a wizard, which is cool. Again, I like wizards.
Wizard.
So like that part of it is great. Like I love the story. I think the look of the game graphically, I think it looks good.
Very good.
I don't understand why it needed to be isometric. That part always isometric games bug me when there's no reason for it to be isometric.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Yeah.
So, but again, the like had this looked more like the three-quarter top-down view of Legend of Zelda, it might have been easier to navigate.
Agreed. Agreed. Or even if it
Instead,
was
in
like tactical.
or tactical, one way or
It,
the other.
the
But
yeah.
they did mix the RPG element of it. So like when you're walking through a room
Hmm.
and you come upon a character, it
Oh,
switches
hi,
into
Mom.
a fight mode,
Yeah, that I like
which was
I got
RPG. But then
uh,
it became just button mashing.
yeah, funny enough, it actually felt like Star Wars chess because like you said, like when you go into a fight situation, it cuts. Even though
Yeah,
that was more cinematic,
but
this
that's
it
an
was weird.
RPG game.
Yeah.
That's an RPG game. You go into a
Yeah.
battle and it switches screens, which is fine. But when you're doing that screen, it's funny. While I was fighting one of the goblins, in my head, I was playing Joust on American Gladiators, which was literally just the annoying button mashing of like hit up,
Yep.
no, hit lower, or one button is your knife and the other button is your sword, depending on like how you're swinging or what you're pressing and stuff. So it's like trying to figure out how to fight properly. There's a bit of a learning curve, or you just button mash and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Fine with that. What did not work for me were the random things that would happen, like there'd be a trapdoor in the floor, and then I'm assuming there's a way to get out of it. But like there's a trapdoor in the floor, and then you have like magically a staff appears and you're holding on to it and you're trying to
Mhm.
climb out and then you just fall to your death. And every time I did that, I was like trying to figure out button combinations to climb out, and it looked like he was trying to climb out, but then he would always fall. And I'm like, okay. That was a problem. That was a problem for like that I had. There were invisible things. Like this game was made so that you could not get past the first level without playing it probably 100 times. And
Yeah, it's a lot of almost muscle
yeah,
memory at that point.
yeah. And as a kid, maybe that works. I'm like, but when you're playing it as an adult, it's like no. It's like I just want to kind of make my way through the first level, and I want the first level to teach me how to work through the other levels that will be harder. But to drop me into a game and it's immediately almost impossible just to get through two rooms, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of out because I just lose interest in it. Um, so yeah, so that really didn't work well for me. Again, it would be one of those things where like if there were a few other elements like tweaked with this, I can see this as an entertaining game to get through because the story would keep me involved because I
Mhm.
just like that world.
Yeah.
But just the isometric view mixed with the controls and everything like that, and the ridiculous difficulty level just kind of knocked it out for me. You will be thrilled to know that when this came out on the NES, Game Pros gave this a 21 out of 25.
Wow. All right, and then I'm missing something.
Yep. So, yep. Computer Gaming World praised the graphics, but stated the game was really an arcade game.
What?
it was too linear to succeed as an RPG. They didn't do enough RPG in it. There were no side
Okay.
quests because ultimately the game just consists of 8 levels. Like
Yeah.
reading this now. It's a labyrinth with 8 levels or 7 on the Nintendo one. They couldn't fit 8. So, and that's it. Once you go through 8 levels, you win. So that's why it's more arcade-ish than RPG. RPG is you go through a world,
Hmm.
go through
Oh, I see
levels.
what you're talking about. I got you. I
Yeah.
got you.
So Um, so yeah, so it received good reviews when it was, when it came out. But yeah, like you, I struggled with this one. And I want to say after maybe 20 minutes of trying to get through more than 3 rooms, I switched over to NES Championship Edition.
So on a side note, the version on the Pico Collection one on Evercade and the version that is available on its own, definitely on the Switch, I think on modern consoles as well, the Cubite Classics, which is a series of Pico games you can just buy on their own. Those are the Genesis versions that are
Okay.
available. I've been trying to play, and I'll do on Thursday the NES version that's on the Nintendo Switch Online. That
Okay.
someone apparently lost the bet and had to post.
Yeah,
So
but you know what, since you have it, give the Genesis version a try and see how it plays.
I'll give it a whirl. So I'll definitely give it a shot.
Yeah.
And all
So
right, so
thank you, Mario. You're never allowed to pick another game.
you're suspended for a little while
Yeah, you are
until,
suspended
until
for
we want to do a Master System game. So
Yeah, you're suspended until I'm no longer on this show.
well, with that, Ant, I'll give it to you.
All right, it is my turn to pick game of the week.
Yes.
And so I did not have to put a lot of thought into this one. Since it is the 35th anniversary of the Sega Genesis, it would only make sense to do a Sega Genesis game.
Okay.
And oddly enough, I did pick a game out of my top 3, which I just mentioned.
Ooh,
So
which
this
one?
week's game of the week is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Oh, Sonic 2. Okay.
How
Well,
else do you celebrate? Yeah, how else do you celebrate the the birthday of the Genesis without playing a Sonic game? You have to play a Sonic game.
this is very, very accurate. No, no, it sounds good. Actually, I don't think I've properly sat down and played Sonic 2. Do I even?
I hope you have Sonic too.
Oh no, I got tons of versions. I just don't think I have the card.
Ah, okay. Well, you can play it off of the Sega Genesis Mini.
Oh my God, I can do that. I have the collection, Sonic Origins, which is a great collection. Oh my
Yep.
God. Basically all the Sonic games. So it's playable, don't get me wrong. All right, so Sonic 2 on the Genesis or wherever else you can find it.
Yep, that is
And
our game of the week.
also check, I know it's been a couple weeks. We've been busy. Don't hold it to us. But game of the week will be returning to YouTube and maybe future platforms later.
Yes.
Every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And with that, let's start wrapping things up. Let's bring this into port. And
Yeah.
do we have news?
I got a lot of news.
Let's do it.
We haven't done news in a long time. First, a bit of sad news.
Oh,
I know. But Rachel Lillis, the voice actor for
oh yes.
Pokemon's Misty and Jessie, passed away last week.
Yeah.
So sad news. She was only 55.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's always rough when
Yep.
that happens. And again, for such an iconic show that just wrapped up its 25-year arc, no less.
Yeah. Talk
So
about
yeah,
long storytelling. Yeah.
yeah, fantastic storytelling. So just sad news, RIP Rachel. Okay, now we'll go on to some other news, maybe more happier news. You brought this one up just a little while ago because it was on your Pico Interactive. The N64 platformer Glover is getting a physical Switch release. Yes, it's unlimited. It's on limited run game and QU Byte.
You bite. Yep.
Was it Q Byte? Is that how you say it?
Yeah. Q bite. Yeah.
All right, Q Byte. The pre-orders are already up. It's 34.99, and there are pre-orders for the Switch version will close on September 15th.
Switch
And
and PS5 to be exact.
Switch and PS5, and it'll ship out in January,
Maybe.
maybe. Yeah, it's limited run. So we got a bit of news there. Here's something that's kind of cool, but I've never heard of this sneaker company. Maybe you have. The company is called Bull Airs, Bull hyphen AIRS, Bull
Yeah.
Airs.
Never heard of it.
I don't know if they're like trying to bite off of Nike Airs. It
Yeah.
sounds like
Right.
it. But Bull Airs are releasing 2 Nintendo inspired sneakers. that look really cool. They
Mhm.
are called the Shoe Boy and the Shoe Boy Color, obviously based off the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color. So the Game Boy, the Shoe Boy is the standard white and gray of the original Game Boy. And then the Shoe Boy Color is purple and gray based off of the Game Boy Color.
Oh, look at these. Oh my God, look at the prices.
Yep.
Holy
So
Lord.
pre-orders opened on August 16th, and each pair of sneakers will cost you $350. There is also a
Oh,
jacket available for $99,
jackets. 300.
which
Oh, well, you can buy both pairs for 600
you can buy both for 6,
or you this is amazing. You can buy a mixed pair. So one
one
each
of each.
for 350. Actually,
That's
that's actually
funny.
a funny idea.
Mhm.
I've never seen the site before,
Yep.
but they definitely have.
Well, they also have a Famicom shoe. They have a classic NES shoe. They have a Captain N varsity jacket.
And Buck, the
So
shoe dog.
yeah, so there's a lot going on this site. This is a bit of current gaming news, but I have to bring it up because I'm very excited about this.
Okay.
Um, so Boss
Riggedy.
Team Games
Yeah.
released a trailer that they are creating two 16-bit
Oh yeah.
games based off of two very popular horror movie franchises that I love. One being Halloween and the other being Evil Dead.
Yes.
So, and I'm really excited. I mean, Evil Dead re got a multiplayer game a couple of years ago, which
Hmm.
was just okay. I'm really excited about the Halloween game because the only other Halloween game that ever came out that was specifically Halloween themed was on the Atari 2600. Michael Myers has appeared in Dead by Daylight, but in terms of the actual movie franchise, like that was the only Halloween franchise game.
Yeah. No.
And
No. It certainly was. And this the two, and they're coming out at the same time.
yeah.
If I read something correctly, I think there can also be like a crossover between the two games.
Oh, that would be cool.
I thought I read something. I don't know if it's a situation
Oh,
that's like Oracle of Ages and
you
Seasons.
can buy the games separately, but if you get them both, you get access to some exclusive content, it
Oh,
says.
okay, okay.
Yeah. So each game, both games are coming out October 18th, just in time for Halloween.
There you go.
They will be 24.99 each, or you can do a double feature edition for 50,
Oh, and
obviously.
yeah.
Um, but then there's also a collector's edition of both games for $100, which comes with a plush of Michael Myers.
Does
You
it
can have a nice
really?
little plush Michael Myers.
I
Hey,
have to
I
find it.
I might buy that. I might need a plush Michael Myers. Because I'm looking at it now, and he looks absolutely adorable.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
Yeah, oh, and you get a few other things with it. It's not just that. You get an exclusive steelbook, you get a digital soundtrack, 7 by 10 print, trading cards,
Wow. Okay.
two Halloween tokens in a display case, and a collectible box featuring a Halloween arcade cabinet. Okay, that might have just sold me on it.
That, wow.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Is this happening? I thought it was going to happen
Uh,
anyway, to be honest with you.
no, but which one do I get? There, you can get it on the PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, and Series X, Nintendo Switch, and Steam.
I mean,
So,
if it was up to me, I would, well, I'm going to get it on the Switch.
okay, so I am buying this. Yep, I'm buying this. There's no question I'm buying this. Okay, we're gonna leave that window
Oh,
open.
awesome.
Moving on. Do you remember
No.
yeah, I know you don't. Do you remember the game Boulder Dash on the Atari and Commodore? It was a puzzle game. It's
Wasn't it a
called
board game as well?
that's Balder Dash,
Oh,
BAL. This is Boulder Dash, Boulder.
oh, maybe. Maybe I do. Sounds familiar.
So so Boulder Dash is turning 40.
Oh,
It
wow.
came out in 1984,
Hmm.
so it's 40 years old this year. And um, a 40th anniversary version has been developed by BBG Entertainment
Okay.
in collaboration with the game's original creators. So they're releasing a 40th anniversary of this game that will include 180 brand new levels to play through,
Wow.
including every world from Boulder Dash 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
So
Oh, I remember this game now.
yeah,
I just Googled it.
yeah.
Okay.
Once you look at it, there's a 30th anniversary that came out on Switch.
Really?
That's what I'm reading here. Boulder Dash 30th anniversary is actually available on the Switch. It launched in 2020
Oh, okay.
on the Switch. Obviously, it came out before that when it turned 30
Well,
in
yeah.
2014. But now the 40th anniversary version is there's a Steam page for it. So got to keep an eye out on this one if you're interested in the classic
Oh,
puzzler Boulder Dash.
I didn't realize. All right, I've seen this Boulder Dash advertised
Hmm.
on a Switch, but I didn't realize it was, I didn't put two and two together.
Yep.
Okay. Very cool.
So there's that one.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on to another series, Rayman.
Oh, classic.
Rayman, classic series. And I think we may have brought this up before because I cannot remember because so many franchises are getting board games now. But
Yeah.
Rayman, the board game, is going live on Kickstarter in September.
Okay.
So if you're a fan of the Rayman series and you love board games like I do, you may want to look into this actual board game. It actually looks really cool. They show images of like the characters,
Hmm.
like the play pieces and stuff like that. So it looks like a fun board game based off of the video game.
Sounds
So
good.
yep, keep an eye out on Kickstarter for that one. We are still not done with handhelds.
Good.
The handheld collections, like your NES minis and stuff like that.
Oh, what's coming out now?
Now we're getting the classic mini edition of the PC-88. The NEC PC-88 will be coming out in spring of 2025. It just looks like a little computer with a keyboard.
Look at that. Is that sitting on a coaster? What?
It might. It's tiny.
That is
It
tiny.
looks tiny. Oh, so it is 99 and a half. It's a quarter of the original size, 99 and a half millimeters wide, 85.7 millimeters deep, and 31 millimeters high. It'll have an HDMI output and micro SD card slot. It will be shipping with 10 games, but obviously with an SD slot, you can put more in there. It is coming out it's going to cost 33,000 yen, which is 242 American dollars.
Okay. Wow.
So this one's kind of along the lines of when they came out with the Sharp X 68,000
Yeah.
mini,
Oh,
where it's like
yeah.
it's really expensive and then you have to buy the games for it.
Yeah, it's
So
basically a system. Yeah, it's the
yeah,
system. Yeah.
it's a computer. So people who are fans of the PC-88, you have an opportunity to own a mini.
Very cool.
There
Spring
you
of
go.
25.
Yep, spring of 25. Moving on to print. Good old print.
Mm.
There is a new video game magazine in the world.
What? When one
Yeah.
just okay.
There's a new video game magazine coming out. It is called Generations, a premium video game magazine. That's
As
what it's
opposed
called. Generations, the first in a line of quarterly published magazines brought to you by GameBound.
game bound. Okay.
GameBound. So Generations is going to be, at least according to this, a 132-page booklet that comes out every 3 months in English, Spanish, and German.
Oh, guten
So,
Tag. Sie werden? Soll ich noch das mit?
so yeah. So anybody who's interested in,
Oh, here it is.
if you're still,
Oh, it's like
yeah,
a
if you're
kid.
still
It's
part of, yeah,
yeah. So I've seen these. There are magazines that come out periodically, no pun
yeah,
intended. But every issue is its own Kickstarter campaign.
yes,
So that's what this is right now.
yes,
Very cool. Very interesting.
yeah. So if you're interested in checking this out, go check out their Kickstarter page. It's called
Um,
again Generations Video Game Magazine.
$11 for digital, 20
Mhm.
about 20 for physical. Okay, interesting.
I think there's a hardcover version.
There might be, I think it's about 46, but it comes with other things as well, including
Yeah.
some sort of club card. What the hell is
Yeah,
that?
there's a club card. Maybe if you become a regular,
Yeah,
if you're a
right. Oh, here we
subscriber,
go.
if you're a subscriber.
Here we go.
Um,
Generations Club. We want to give you much more than just a magazine to keep you satisfied between issues. We're setting up the Generations Club, hosted by Steady. Don't know what that is. Everyone who backs the campaign from Let's Get Digital,
oh,
excuse me, will get 3 months of free access, which will
mhm.
start once the issue is being dispatched to backers. The club will host as well as additional articles, a podcast, and more. All right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
That's
cool.
interesting. All right.
And just a little teaser for what is in going to be in issue number one, an in-depth look at the very first handheld, the Microvision.
Ooh,
Uh,
ooh.
a dive with Mike Diver. I'm assuming he had something to do with the Microvision. A dive into Pong with Lewis Packwood, and an interview with Clock Tower and Steel Battalion creator Hifumi Komo.
There you go. Clock
It's just
tower.
a couple of just a couple of
Yeah,
teasers for the
very
magazine.
cool.
So there's that. Okay. Now we're going to move on to, we mentioned this a little bit earlier. You were talking about my Zelda collection and where I'm
Yes.
at with consoles, not counting the CDI.
Uh-oh, now what's coming out?
What's coming out is the CDI is getting a Mr. FPGA core.
Oh, wow.
So if you have a
Okay.
Mr., you'll be able to play the awful Mario and Zelda games that are on the CDI. Jack, that's for
Yeah,
you.
that's
That's
well, usually when a Mister comes out, like a Mister Core, usually the
Mhm.
pocket's not too far behind.
Yeah, usually. So there may be, yeah, you may see a CDI pocket coming.
Hopefully.
Who knows?
Hopefully.
All right. Moving on. Oh God, I love that Michael Myers thing. I want it.
Yeah,
Uh,
those
I,
look awesome.
I clicked on that again. All right.
Oops.
If you live in Chicago or are traveling to Chicago, plan to see
Chicago.
Chicago, winds are up to 30 months.
A strong Strom.
Strong Strom is headed to Chicago.
Viola. All right.
For you know what? Just a quick pop quiz. If anybody knows where that's from, please put it in one of our chats.
Oh, and you could be our friend.
Please comment. You can be our friend. Yes, you will qualify to be a friend of the pod. The Chicago Museum is holding an arcade exhibit on the developer Midway, most
Ooh,
famously known for Mortal Kombat and NBA Jam.
okay.
The exhibit is going to be called Insert Coin Inside Midway's Arcade Revolution.
Okay.
It will be running from October 26th to February 16th, and it will only cost $12 to get in.
That's cool.
It will include 15 playable games that will communicate the story of the company. It does not list specifically what the 15 games are. I
Hmm.
would assume you're going to see some Mortal Kombats and NBA Jams there.
Oh, I would imagine.
So
If I've
tickets
seen
go
those
on
games.
sale August 21st.
I feel like everything, whether it's a documentary, a show, magazine, whatever, always at some point has to have the title or label insert coin when it comes to arcade games and stuff.
Yeah, well, maybe it's the same people who did the
The insert
documentary.
coin, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, hello. The exhibit is organized by the documentary filmmaker and director of innovation at DePaul University, Joshua Sui, who was behind the 2020 documentary Insert Coin.
Boom.
There
There
you
you
go.
go. Mic drop.
There you go. Done and done. Okay. Moving on to your favorite little system, the Evercade.
I do love that system.
The Evercade is getting a two-pack. This is not a two-pack, a dual game cartridge
Oh, yes. If this is what it is, I think it is. Yes.
for Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain, and Soul Reaver. Two PS1
Yes.
classic games. So add it to your collection, Larry.
Absolutely. It's going to be one of the Giga carts, the new Giga
It's going to
carts that
be
are
a
coming
Giga
out
cart. Yep.
that will be able to be played on everything. The Versus R, the EXP-R, the
Yep.
Alpha. So, yeah, this looks really cool. I might have owned one of them
I think I
on
owned,
PlayStation.
I don't know if I own them, but I think I played Soul Reaver at one point. I never played the first one.
The first one is almost like a top-down
Yeah.
looks like. I'm not saying it plays like because I don't think I
Yeah.
played that one, but it looks like a Dark Alliance or something like that, like Baldur's
Yes.
Gate or something.
Again, like
Um,
that dungeon crawler
yeah,
kind of thing.
exactly, exactly. So yeah, I might dip my toe into this. What is this? What are all these other games that are real that are
Well, just so you know, the pre-orders start on this one on August 30th and it ships out September 30th.
very cool? I didn't realize there was Bitmap Brothers Collection 2,
Yep.
Toplink Arcade 3, and Data East Arcade 3. Where was I for these? Okay. Interesting.
All right, Larry, here's something for you to spend money on in the iPhone store. Maybe.
Okay.
But there is a Sega Saturn emulator available in Apple's App Store. It's $4.99 to purchase. And it's available on Android devices as well.
There you
So there
go.
you go. I think it was on Android first, but now it's finally coming to iPhone because Apple has decided to open themselves
Allow.
up
Yeah.
and allow themselves to be part of society and not shutting themselves off to, ooh, we're too good for everybody else and you can only use Apple stuff.
Well, hell, Apple.
I
Oh,
hate
hell,
Apple.
Apple.
Hate for them.
I gotta put a new candle out for Steve Jobs.
Yeah, you go do that. And you know what? You can line his dead pockets by spending $5 and buying the Sega Saturn
Will
emulator.
do. They get like 20% of it.
Yeah, well,
No, they might get more
20%
than
goes
that. Huh?
20% goes to his grave. All right, moving on. Oh, I forgot I had another book on the list here for this week.
Oh, okay.
New book that's going to be talking about classic 80s arcade games, which I thought was kind of cool. It's a Kickstarter called Arcade Decades 80s Edition. It's currently live. It has a funding target of 2,500 euro. Early bird pricing is starting at 30 euro for the hardcover book.
Oh, look at this.
Yep.
Very
So,
cool.
according to this, here's what it says: Immerse yourself in a treasure trove of memories via original arcade photography, meticulously captured by people who share a passion for retro gaming and preservation of our arcade gaming heritage.
Looks
This,
very cool. Yep, 44 days to go as of this recording.
yep,
They made their goal. Yeah, PDF, physical, like you said,
yep.
hardcover, a signed.
You get a signed
$59 for a
copy for,
signed copy.
yep, for 45
That's
euro.
not bad. Personalized hardback book for 72. That's interesting.
Yep.
Very cool.
So really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Moving on to we heard earlier this year that there was going to be a live action Legend of Zelda movie. It's going to be produced by Sony.
Hopefully it has nothing to do with Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild.
We will find out if it will be based off of two of the most award-winning games ever made. But the screenwriter for that Zelda movie, his name
Mhm.
is Derek Connolly. He has written, his credits include Jurassic World, Kong Skull Island, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, and Detective Pikachu,
Oh, okay.
working on the Legend of Zelda movie. But now, news has come out. He's working on another video game related movie, according to the Hollywood Reporter. And of all the games that you can think of to make a movie out of, this one's a little perplexing. He is currently writing a live action adaptation of Eternal Champions
Ooh,
from the Sega Genesis.
okay.
The
Interesting.
right, and the weird thing behind it is that I mean it's a fighting game that came out. It kind of felt like an answer to, or at least a way to combat Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. But
Hmm.
they really only came out with two versions. They came out with Eternal Champions in '93. Then there was Eternal Champions Challenge from the Dark Side on Sega CD. And
Oh,
that was
that's
it.
right. I forgot about
Like
that.
there's been nothing about this franchise for 30 years. So interesting choice to make into a film, but hey,
I mean, the cast
who
of
knows?
characters definitely lends to it, and it still has. I know this game still has some love out there, obviously, because they
Yeah,
make a movie about it. But all right, I can see this.
yeah.
This.
And I do have the I have the Sega CD one.
Oh, do you? Okay, I
I
don't think.
do. I do have the Sega CD one. I can't tell you last time I played it, but I have it. And I remember actually owning the game because back then when Mortal Kombat came out, I really started getting into fighters.
Yeah, right. Me
So I
too.
remember buying Eternal Champions, and it was one of the ones I traded back to Funko or GameStop
Mhm.
because, it wasn't Mortal Kombat. Not that it was a bad game though. I remember enjoying it. It just, I stopped playing it after
So
a
much
while.
fun. I wanted my money back.
Yes. All right, winding down here. Do you remember the game's Shadowgate on the NES? It was again a dungeon crawler game.
Oh, yes, yes,
It was
yes.
first person.
Yep.
Well, it's been 34 years and we're getting a sequel.
There we go. Better late than
Next,
never.
yep, next month, Beyond Shadowgate will be available on Steam and GOG September 19th.
Okay.
It was crowdfunded on Kickstarter last year.
Oh, cool.
It is not related to the TurboGrafx CD sequel because that was a third person point and click.
Okay.
It is a traditional first person follow up, first person dungeon crawler follow up.
Hmm.
So if you liked the original Shadowgate on the NES, you will probably enjoy Beyond Shadowgate. check it out on Steam and GOG.
That's what this. I've been seeing some like when I'm scrolling through on social media, I see like a video start to play of
Yep.
like a book opening on a table. Looks very medieval, but I never stopped to watch it. It was this Beyond Shadowgate.
Yep.
Okay, interesting. Very cool. Looks
All
gorgeous.
right. And then I got two more pieces of
Huh?
news.
Okay.
This one we talked about before the show, but I'm going to bring it up. But a man in Saudi Arabia
Oh
decided to
yes.
set the Guinness World Record for the most gaming consoles connected to a single television. I don't know why this is a record to a single TV, but hey, most gaming consoles connected to a single TV, 444 different consoles hooked up to
Hmm.
one television.
That I can't even imagine the power
No,
surges that could be going on with
no.
this.
Well,
But
not only the power surges, but like all of the HDMI and VGA switchers that you need to do this.
I couldn't even find a four
Yeah,
HDMI switcher. I had to go get a 16, which finally works.
yeah.
But to have like 20 of these hooked up to each other,
No,
oh my
just
God.
insane. Like I
Especially,
remember at one point I had two. I had two VGA switchers that were hooked up to each other so I can hook up all of my systems
yeah.
because I have like 20 something systems. I'm like, but 444, insane.
I wish there was
Insane.
a list somewhere
There has
to
to be. There has to be.
he has
And
a
actually,
virtual boy in his little setup here. I wonder if
oh,
that's hooked up to
interesting.
the TV.
Yeah, I think he found a way to hook everything up to the TV. He did say in his interview about it that his favorite console of all time, always number one, is the Sega Genesis.
There you go.
So, just fitting for
35
today's
years
stories.
later.
Yep.
What is
So,
this?
yeah, so check out this guy. Unbelievable. Ibrahim Al Nasir is his
Okay.
name. And again, 444 systems hooked up to the same HD enabled television.
He's got Here's what will drive you nuts, and when you look at this picture, he's got systems just sitting on top of other systems,
Yep.
almost haphazardly.
Yep.
Um, I mean, from what I can see here, a lot of computer stuff.
Yep.
I pretty much think I see a VCR. I don't know if that counts,
Pro-
but I do see a couple in Neo. Now, when we say couple, because we talked about this before we started
yeah.
recording, we think is included in these are like slims and like the
Yeah, in
remodels
other
and
words,
stuff like
like he
that.
has multiple I think he has multiple PS2s, like all the different versions of
PS3s
them.
alone were like one, two, I think there was three remodels of the
Hmm.
PS3, maybe three or four of the
Yep.
PS4.
I'm sure he's got
So
every all the Sega Genesis.
I see a couple of tower powers of some
Yep.
sort, I think. They're
Yeah.
all your Xboxes. So yeah.
Probably one for each Genesis.
Oh yeah.
Versions one, two, and
Wild,
three.
wild stuff. I'm trying to see some stuff I can't tell.
Yeah. But absolutely crazy. And then obviously a lot of consoles I've never heard of,
Oh,
probably,
sure.
yeah, from around the world.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Do I
What'd you
see
find? What'd you find?
two? Do I see two? One might be the European and one's probably North American. I saw two 32Xs, one hooked up to a V1, one hooked up to a V2.
Yeah.
But it looks like I
And
think
there's a say, and he has the Sega CD version one, version two. He pretty much has everything,
oh,
which
I
is
didn't
crazy.
even think of that. You
Yep.
can double the number if you're doing
Yeah.
the Japanese versus North
Yep.
American versus PAL versions. Oh, he
Yep.
cheated. No, this doesn't count. All
Well,
right.
take it
I'm
up with
not happy
Guinness.
with this.
We'll take it up with Guinness.
I
They
see two
counted it.
Ataris. What the hell is that now?
They counted it. It counted. He has the
Eh,
record. You have a lot of work to do to catch up, Larry.
I see. Well, if we wanted to talk about it, we could, but this
Yeah, no,
is
that's not happening.
clearly not. What I see
So,
an old Pong.
so
Wow,
his
that's looking pretty
collection is
cool.
hooked up with over 30 RCA switchers, more than 12 HDMI switchers.
I
That,
can't
yeah,
get
just
one to work.
crazy.
How's he getting 12?
Yep. And he goes from the Magnavox Odyssey in 1972 to the PS5 Slim from
You
last
know,
year.
he's
Yeah,
got a
it's insane.
wall of systems. I can't even tell what these things are.
Yep. Yeah, he's probably got every single oddity. He has an Excel spreadsheet that he refers to for when he wants to play a console because obviously you can't remember
Wait,
how
wait.
400 of these are hooked up.
Okay. He's he's got an Excel spreadsheet. I have a small piece of
Oh,
paper
Larry, are you
handwritten.
serious?
What
Are you serious?
this is my my HDMI switcher.
At least laminate it or
And
something.
all 15. I still have one empty spot, saving it for something. I don't know what it's going to
That's
be.
terrible. When I was using switchers, I actually bought a label maker and I just labeled what each one was.
No, no, because I got the remote, so I keep the paper
Oh
by
yeah,
me.
so yeah, you're
But
lazy.
I'm constantly losing this piece of paper, so it don't matter.
All right. Well, that's you. All right. The last bit of news I want to share, and then we'll get out of here because we've been talking forever.
It's okay. That's why people listen. They want
I
to listen to
know,
us.
I
So
know,
we
but
need to keep talking. Go.
okay, but I have reached my talking quota. Okay. We've talked about this. I only have so much. This is really cool. I love to end on Legend of Zelda news all the
Mm,
time, mostly
depends.
because most of the news I do involves Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, which I know aggravates you. But this one is about Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
So, a fan of Ocarina of Time decided to create a demo remade in Unreal Engine 5. And holy moly, does Ocarina of Time look gorgeous in Unreal Engine 5. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. The
Oh,
gameplay,
wow.
the menu screen,
Holy Lord.
it looks insane. Like I would love to see Nintendo do something like this. Instead, we'll get like the little 2D Link's Awakening remake version
Yeah.
of it. But this is gorgeous.
That Unreal, I downloaded that demo of it was like a Matrix demo when the new movie came out a couple years
Yeah.
ago.
Oh,
And
I
they
did too. That was
yeah, the
beautiful. It
Unreal
was
Engine
stunning.
5. Good God.
It was stunning.
And that was running on mine was the Series X. I downloaded it on.
I did it. I
Um,
think I did it on I might have done it on the PS5 when it
oh,
right when it came out.
unbelievable. And this gameplay right now that I'm looking at is sick.
Yeah, it's
So,
insane.
yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous. I would love to play Ocarina of Time like
Yeah,
this.
that'd be wild.
Absolutely would. And that is it for retro news.
All right. All right. Well, that will wrap it up. And one more time, where can they find us?
You guys can find us on Facebook.com/Retro Gamers Podcast, on Instagram at Retro Gamers Podcast, on Twitter at Retro
Yes.
Gamers Pod. You can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube and Spotify at Retro Gamers Podcast, or you can email us at email@theretrogamers.com.
All right. And with that, we will call it. And I think you're going to be gone for a little while.
I will be gone next week for sure.
Yep.
I'm going to be spotty on the show for the next few weeks. I have some travel coming up, some business, some personal. So you'll see me when you see me.
Yes. So I'll have a couple of guests on, and
No solo episodes allowed.
I'm going to do all solo episodes. They're going to be 9-hour marathons of me
Mhm.
just sitting here reading.
There's your ASMR right there.
Yes. Oh my God, 100%. All right. Well, and enjoy your travels.
Thank you.
And folks, we will catch you everywhere next. Well, one of us will
Yeah,
next
not
week
me.
on the Retro Gamers Podcast.